In this video, we're going to round decimal numbers. There's the objective. So the strategy I'm going to use is I'm going to stack possible answers. You're going to see what I mean here in just a minute. And I'm going to use the same rules of rounding as I do with whole numbers. 4 or less, let it rest, 5 or more, add 1 more, whatever you use. Alright, so let's round this number here. Specifically, we're going to round the 10th place. We're going to round the 1. Well, I know if we follow the steps of rounding, that 1 will either stay a 1, or we might bump it up to a 2. Okay, we're not going to go higher than that. It's either going to stay a 1, or it's going to become a 2. So let's not look at those other digits right now. Alright, the 3 is not going to change. We're not even dealing with the 1's place, so it's still going to be 3. So we're either going to round up to 3 2/10, or we're going to keep it round down to 3 1/10. Well, it all rests on that digit next to it, right? So we look to the digit to the right, and we can ask ourselves 4 or less, 5 or more. What if we just look at the whole number? What if we look at 156? All right. And let's think of the 2 as 200, and let's think of the 1 as 100. So is 156 closer to 200, or is it closer to 100? Well, anything past the halfway mark. In this case, it would be 150. So anything more than 150 would round up, and anything less than 150 would round down. So whether we looked at just the 5 or more, add 1 more, or we can just look at the whole thing, plug in some zeros, which is what we do when we compare and order decimal numbers, that 156 is definitely going to go up to 200. So 3 2/10 is our answer. So example 1. We're rounding to the hundredths place. So before we even think about doing anything, let's ask ourselves, what is that 2? What are the possibilities for that 2? It can either become this, or it can become that. It's either going to stay a 2, or we're going to add 1 to it to become a 3. There's no other options. Everything else on the left, we're not even dealing with those right now. They're going to stay the same. So the 1's place will stay the same. The 10's place will stay the same. All right, so we can look at the 3 and we can ask ourselves 4 or less, 5 or more. Or we can look at the entire 23. We can pretend we're rounding the whole 23, and we're either going to go up to 30 or we're going to go down to 20. Well, we got to remember the halfway mark. And the halfway mark always has a 5. So in this case, 25 is halfway between. So if it's 25, we'll go up. And if it's less than 25, we'll go down. All right. So 23 is closer to 20. So we're going to round down to 7 82 hundredths. So in example 2, we're rounding to the 1's place. We're going to round that 5. So again, let's think, what is that 5 going to become? It's either one thing or another. So we're either going to leave it a 5, or we're going to add 1 to it and bump it up to a 6. Those are the only 2 choices. There's nothing on the left. That's nice. So we can either look at the 4, just look at the 4 all by its lonesome, 4 or less, 5 or more. Or we can look at the entire 489. But we'd want to put in some zeros just so we know what we're looking at here. So 489. So we're either going to round this number all the way up to 6,000, or we're going to round this number down to 5,000. So what's the halfway mark? Remember, the halfway mark has a 5. So 500 would be the halfway mark. Yeah, we're not there. Close, but we're not there. So we're under 500. Therefore, we will go down. So this entire number will round down to 5.